Welcome to Unfiltered Summit Sisters. I'm Gina.
And I'm Julia.
We are two ride-or-die best friends who are paving the path for what true, authentic relationships look like.
We're facing hardships head-on, having real, uncensored conversations, supporting each other's growth, and shining a light on true, raw healing.
We are navigating the world the best we know how.
Having a hell of a time doing it.
Laughing every step of the way.
Through the rain
and sunshine.
This is Canyon Culture.
Welcome back to the concluding episode about what it's like for us as single parents. Hope you enjoy part 2.
I'm a badass.
Right. So, what is it that makes you badass? What are the things, tell me about what practices you do, or what, when you're having hard days, what is it that you're doing to get through this day and go, that was still a good day, or to still look back and go, I love my life? Because to be honest, on paper, sometimes if I were to write down what my life is like on paper, I'd be like, nope.
Nobody would just sign up for our lives. We do have beautiful, beautiful lives now, especially from where we came from.
Yeah.
But single parenting life is very hard, and nobody would look at it and be like, I choose that.
Well, option Gina and Julia. So tell me a little bit about just what you feel like sharing helps make your life, makes it so that you're not just crawling in a hole or running away. Because you often like to be like, I want to run away. But you haven't yet, which I'm so proud of you for.
Thank you.
So what's keeping you from running away?
So there are 3 things that come to mind, my top 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
One, I will play worship music.
Oh, okay.
That's not always easy to do because a lot of the times I'm not in the mood when I am that tired and that drained.
You want 5-finger death punch.
I want 5-finger death punch, baby.
But instead you choose Jesus.
Burn. Person burn. Some of you will know that song.
Okay, so praise and worship music.
It changes the atmosphere of the home.
Yeah.
And it changes the position of your heart. Mm-hmm. And so oftentimes I will put it on and I'm just like, whatever, I'm just going to put it on. And it really does
Well,
help.
I think it invites the spirit and it lets the spirit cleanse and take care of things.
Sometimes I just need the worship music to be louder than the lies.
I love that. That is that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need that. Another thing, a second thing that is a lot harder for me to do is to reach out and talk to you. And that is a lot harder for me because I don't like being in that vulnerable space. Mm-hmm. And that's just a trauma response from the past, right? That was always used against me.
Right.
And so even though I've worked really hard to heal that consciously, subconsciously, there's still things there that need to be healed. And so I don't want you to see me in dark, vulnerable, yucky places. It just...
I shake my head.
I don't want to see myself in those places.
But
it's hard for me to accept myself in that place.
I'm trying to think of the last time you had shared something and you said, I'm really vulnerable about this. I don't want to share it, but here I'm sharing it. And I was like, do you know how helpful that is for me?
I did?
Yeah.
What was it about?
It was probably something with overthinking or something that I'm something that I do that I'm so self-conscious because I look at you and I'm like, she has her shit together. She's always so confident and she handles everything because you deal with everything so internally. And I am so external with everything.
Yeah.
And so we are very, very opposites with that. And so as I'm over there overthinking a scenario and just going, you shared, you're just like, oh no, I'm so insecure about this, that, and the other thing. I was like, you are?
Yeah.
And it was just it was almost like, okay, she's human. It's fine.
Right. I just process a lot more internally and a lot quieter.
Yeah. So I don't see those times. But knowing that you struggle with some of the same things I do when it comes to things that when we both struggle with single parenting things, that's really obvious and there. But when it's our own, I keep saying, my overthinking, I hate it. I hate my overthinking. Mm-hmm. I'm so self-conscious about my overthinking. I overthink my overthinking. And it's just I hate it about myself. I want to be confident. I want to be secure. And I see that in you. And not that I want you to be that way, but to know that it's something you have to work on and that instead of...
It is. And I think it's important to note that I am really good at putting on this badass front all the time.
Yeah.
Even when I am not in that place and I do not feel like that at all. Mm-hmm. That is still a protective coping mechanism
Yeah.
that I have done for so long that I will still do it.
Which, yeah, that makes sense.
Which is something I'm working on and I'm healing. So what you're seeing is not always
healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do view my end of the spectrum on that is with my upbringing and the things I've gone through, me playing the victim, that is where I try, like, that's my toxic trait.
Yeah.
Is sitting in a victim space waiting for someone to rescue me and feeling validated through that.
Yeah.
And so when nobody shows up, surprise, surprise, to rescue me for a problem that they didn't know about, right? Or for the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
It's like, but that's my thing. Like, so for you put on this badass and I go the opposite direction and I make myself weaker.
Which is funny that we're so opposite on that. Mine is mine's like, I will hurt you before you hurt me. I'll leave you before you leave me. I will
and I'm like, I will hurt myself.
I will beat you to it.
And I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, I will hurt myself.
And usually there's nobody in my life who's planning on doing those things.
Right. Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
We are very yin and yang. I love it. Okay, so what is the third thing? Because you said there's 3. So we have praise and worship.
Yep.
Then we have reaching out more.
Yep. And then the last thing is just gratitude. And a lot of times that is, on those days, is through anger or tears and I will just find anything at all that I can be thankful for. So I specifically remember a day where I had 11 piano lessons that day.
That's so many.
I hadn't slept, right, on top of, the house and kids and right. I have to do, freaking 8 hours of work before I even start the job I get paid for.
Right.
And I was just in tears before work. I'm so tired. I don't know how I'm going to make it through. And so I pop open an energy drink. I put some music on and I'm just thanking him for everything that I can think of. I'm like, thank you that I get to work from home. Thank you that I have the finances that I have. Thank you that I don't have to leave my babies. Thank you that I don't have a minimum wage job, and just started thanking him. And crazy enough, that day, I had, I think, 2 students who last minute couldn't make their lessons that I had already been paid for.
I love that.
Yeah.
So that not only that, but you leave space for God to show up.
Yeah.
And you let him show up and take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah. So those are my top 3 things that that help me get through those days or those weeks.
It's nice that you've got that. Those seasons.
Months,
we'll just
years,
say seasons.
there we go.
That's an undecided time.
Apparently. Because it's still snowing in April.
It's insane.
So share some of the things. What are some of your top things that help you?
It's interesting because when I asked the question, it was in my head, I was thinking less of what are you doing during that day and what are you doing in your life in general. So I feel like what you shared being, this is what I actively do on those days is perfect, because what I'm thinking of is this is how I run my life in general. And so it gives kind of a different idea. So, my morning routine with God, I think partnering with God every day, which includes gratitude. I love the power of gratitude partnered with this idea of the gratitude to God. Not just general gratitude, but just saying, thank you.
Yes.
Because that changes your heart, that changes your perspective. So I think that using this idea of just perspective, and I think that I practice perspective often, and just going, the lesson that I'm learning of getting to have conflicting emotions at the same time has been so helpful, because I can sit there and go, I'm having a hard time. So right now I'm physically having a hard time with the state of my house, with how many hours I'm putting in with work and having 0 things knocked off my list. That's so frustrating for me. We've got a litter of puppies right now, which I love and is amazing, but that adds an entire job. So I raise the 3 dogs that live here all the time. They live here. And then when they have a litter of puppy, I am adding a whole other job to my already busy life, which consists of communicating with the puppy owners and taking care of the puppies and organizing the business side of, that just reminds me, I need to go AKC register the litter. Like there's always
most people don't see all of that though. They're like, oh, puppies, that must be fun. Like they don't see all the
They don't see the poop. They don't see the organization. And one of the things I love about the job that I didn't anticipate was the community that I've created, which these people are amazing. I have found some amazing, amazing friends through this puppy business. But that means I am now connecting and pouring into people.
Right.
Several more people than I normally do.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so just by practicing this idea of gratitude and perspective and just going, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's difficult, but I partner with God and my kids are healthy.
Yes.
And my kids are good. Like my kids have hard times, but they're good kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not dealing with, we're dealing with Thomas was having a hard time and they have hard times and it's sad and it's heartbreaking and it's really bad. But like back to the cancer, we're not in children's hospitals.
Right.
Which would be no, I don't want to do that. We got plenty.
Yep.
Right. And so and I have a house that and with appliances that work that make it so I can do my job easier. I'm not having to wash my clothes in the river in the winter.
Right.
And I know that sounds little and silly, but at the same time, it's those little things that make it so that I'm like, this is hard, this is difficult, but life is so beautiful and so good. And it gives space for those moments of just absolute joy. So this morning,
yes,
especially, in the morning, I have an app that has a very quick spiritual lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the option to take it further. Like you can go read certain scriptures or read certain talks, and it has the links. And so you can kind of dig a little deeper, and it can go a little bit longer. You can keep it super, super short. I'm talking 3 minutes. And so I usually do that while I'm going to the bathroom. I'm just like, I'm here. Might as well, instead of playing a game or getting on social media, I can spend time there.
There's a mom tip right there.
Write that down. Do your time with God while you do. And this morning I didn't do that. I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Because you just didn't need to go to the bathroom, or what?
I was up at 5 a.m. and so I didn't bring my phone because I was not awake, and I was like, I have to go. So by the time I needed to get out of bed, anyway. So I get on my phone, and I was on social media, and my youngest was in my bed with me at that point, and he was just like, "Why are you watching TikToks?" And I was like, "It's Instagram, by the way. Like it makes it better." And I was like, "Should we study?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I pull out that app, and it's got this, it's an amazing little spiritual lesson. And then some of the deeper stuff goes into Easter stuff and Passover and all of these things. And there's these amazing videos about, that we watched, and that we spent 20 minutes, him and I.
Aww,
and he laid there
that.
And listened to me read, and he watched the videos and he asked questions. And I got to just, I got teary because these videos really depict the Last Supper and the atonement and how things went when he was betrayed by Judas and all those things. Like you're just getting emotional because you're watching, like the actors do such an amazing job. I'm gonna have to send you these videos because they're incredible, and it just takes you to that moment of what it's like.
Can I interrupt you with a mom story about Easter real quick?
Please.
So this was many, many years ago. I find this animated kids movie about Easter, all about the life of Jesus, his death, his resurrection, and it's kid appropriate. It's animated. But it also covers the basic details of it.
Yeah.
So we sit down and watch this movie, and I'm ready to pour into my babies. Like when we're done with the movie, I can't wait to talk to them and answer their questions, and I'm ready. And so we finished the movie, and I asked the girls, I'm like, does anybody have any questions? And my oldest raises her hand. She's probably like 5 or 6. She's like, so Jesus wore panties on the cross?
Yeah, kind of.
And I'm like, do we have any other questions that I could like pour into you and teach you? So that we just watched that whole movie. And that's the first thing on your mind, is that he wore panties on the cross.
Valid question.
It was.
That's hilarious. I love it. But those moments are memorable.
Yes.
Those moments are memorable. So I would say, like that, but that's the thing. Like I would take that and be like, yeah, victory.
Yeah.
Done. And I will say, like, the last thing I do is I just try and make sure that I am partnering with God and I'm listening to the Spirit so that I take any moment I can to shift and change.
Yeah.
So if at any moment he's like, go train, go for a walk, go play tag with your kids, read this book about pornography, like pick a thing. Like that's what's been happening the last couple of weeks.
Right.
Are those things. And instead of me sticking with, this is the structure that we do, that I'm loosey-goosey about it, and it gives opportunities for us to have conversations that we need to have instead of go by the book I guess,
Right.
if that makes sense. So my life is so freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's because I work hard, and it's because I don't give up, and it's because God is good, and it is because we put things in the right order, the right perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That, yes, my baseboards are dirty. My kitchen floor is clean. Dirty? Nope, not clean. Very dirty. Not sure when the last time my kids showered. But there's peace in my home.
Mm.
And we are doing good things every day. Every day. We may not even be doing scriptures every day, but we are in general. I think there was, we had a conversation about just the little rituals that our little community of kids do.
Yeah.
And that it's second nature to all of us. I think that's why. It's we're doing these affirmations. We are keeping positive mindset. We are actively working and helping each other heal, whether the kids know it or not. That's what they're doing. They're helping each other heal.
Absolutely.
And giving space for everybody to have their emotions. And it's that just general little things throughout the whole day that we have implemented that are second nature to all 12 of us now, that I think make us just this force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely.
And I think that that would be something that if anybody were to take anything away from this, what I would want them to take away with is find things that put fire in your soul, that heals you in a way that is something you can implement quickly, easily throughout the day, shift your mindset. Because one of the things I love is that I have the power to feel how I want to feel, in the sense of my day gets to go the way I choose. I can take a minute and be sad, and I can have a sad day, but that doesn't mean it's a bad day.
Right.
So I have good days. I have good days all the time. I look back, and sometimes those good days are lonely days, but they're still good days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the perspective that I love. By the end of the day, it could be a freaking hard day, but it's a good day.
Absolutely. Your perspective can be your prison.
Yes.
Or your power.
And
you get to choose.
Absolutely. I feel like you're really good at taking my spaghetti bowl of thoughts, and it takes me like 500 words, and then you like, let's put it into a t-shirt.
But that's only because you say the 500 words out loud. I have the 500 words in my head, and then I put them together in my head, and that's what comes out.
No, I'm just a word vomit mess all the time.
No, you are not.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Just a lot of words. Okay, so Madison's at home with all 9 kids.
Yeah.
I guess 8 because she's number 9.
Yeah.
And you said she hasn't complained yet, so we're good.
Yeah, but the teenagers have not been happy about just being the kids of single parents lately. Yeah. It's been hard. So like last night they had planned to watch a movie.
Yeah.
I unexpectedly had to work late. You had something at work come up and it's unexpected, which is very rare that we both have that happen at the same time.
It's true.
But it did, right? And that takes precedence because we have to provide. And so I heard...
But do we have to? I don't want to anymore.
Apparently we do.
We just need... I feel like... I know that it won't make our lives perfect, but I feel like if we didn't have to worry about finances, I feel like I could breathe.
For sure.
I feel like I wouldn't have to work 4 jobs. I feel like I wouldn't have to... Okay, I'm sorry. That's a tangent we don't need to go down. Continue.
So I could hear the teenagers were bonding.
Okay, good.
Over
Glad they have that.
Being the children of single working moms.
What were they saying?
They had planned to watch one of the Spider-Man movies. And you and I both had to work, and there were other kids to be taken care of, and so I could hear them bonding over it, and they did a good job. They were not happy about it, but they weren't rude or disrespectful. It was just bonding of like, this is life with single working moms. Like, yeah.
I wonder if there needs to be. I want there to be perspective for them too. Because they've had movie night 3 nights in a row.
Yeah, I was talking to Mackenzie about that today.
Okay.
Because she was, she has a date, right? She's on a date right now with Charlie and Greg. She wants to hang out with all the teenagers again later. And I was like, listen, I understand that you want to hang out and do your thing all day, every day because it's spring break. But that's not reality for us and for having a working mom. Neither of us are on spring break. We don't get spring break as adults.
Yeah. How much do you let your kids see? Okay, well, let me preface with a story, and then I want to kind of hear how you do it. So there's days where things are hard, and a lot of times it's when I don't sleep. So this week I've had the stud here, who is a sweet dog, but as a male dog around a bunch of intact females, he marks everywhere. So then I try and kennel him, but he is not kennel trained, so he doesn't like, so he howls. So he's either in my house marking, which is peeing, all over the house, or he's in his kennel crying. Then I have the mama across the hall who needs to get let out several times a night. We have to keep that door shut so that the warmth stays in there for her puppies, because I'm not heating the entire house.
Right.
Get a blanket.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're like all week I've had broken up sleep and very, very little sleep. And so I notice that when I have less sleep, I wake up and I'm just a hot mess.
Yeah.
And so there are mornings where during prayer or when like I still try and make an effort to do those things, but I just remember there's times where I'm like at the end and I just start crying in front of my kids, and I'm just like, being a single mom is so hard.
Right.
And I understand that being kids, like, this is hard for you too.
Yeah.
But here's what I need today. I need you guys to be on your game. I need to not do fighting, because I can't promise I'm going to keep it together.
Yeah.
I can't promise I'm not going to lose my temper, because I am really stretched thin and I am really raw about what I'm feeling and how I'm trying to manage that. And not so that to make them say you're in charge of how I feel, but to go, if you guys could work on not fighting extra today.
Yeah.
If you guys could see a need and feel a need more today, I really need extra help today, because being a single parent is really tough. And what I notice is their compassion really comes out those days. I usually get a hug after I'm done, because I'm crying.
Yeah.
I am at the end of I'm at the end of the rope, and it's the beginning of the day. So I'm crying and I'm like, listen, I've had zero sleep. I'm so tired. I really need you guys to get together. It doesn't always go that way, but I usually will end up with hugs and stuff like that. And then during prayers, they pray for me.
Yeah.
And there's compassion. And I feel like that's something that I want to continue to do, and not manipulate and not guilt trip them, but to showcase everybody's life is hard. And if I show you where it's hard for me and be vulnerable with this life is rough.
Yeah.
And teach them that it's beautiful and all those things, but like, you have a part that you can make it better. You can help out and you can do these things. And so last night when Russell, I had to ask him to come home to babysit his brother so that I could go do my work thing. I was so impressed with him, because he didn't whine at me. He didn't complain. And so when he asked if he could play on the computer and I said yes, he was excited. And I want to pull him aside and I want to be like, it was so easy to say yes to that, because you didn't get mad at me. You didn't give me attitude. You, in fact, were the opposite. And I so appreciate that. Because you have, I mean, not every right, because I don't think they have the right to be snotty, but I get, like, you had plans.
Right.
And you had to drop your plans to take care of your brothers, because we don't have another adult in this home.
Our kids have more responsibilities than kids who have two parents.
Yeah. So do you do a similar thing, or do you do something different, or how do you manage this idea of teaching your children that single parenting is hard and your lives look different than everybody else's? Like, what do you do?
So I think it's pretty similar in what you do. I don't hide from my kids that I'm having a hard day. I don't think I even could at this point.
Right, like, how do you when they're always there? Like, the fact that we have no children here, it takes so much work.
Yeah.
How long did it take me to get the kids out the door to go to your house?
Because we locked them up at my house.
I locked the door here. They physically can't get in. They're going to climb over the roof here. Just watch.
Like they did the other day?
Yeah, that did happen the other day.
Yeah.
They were on the roof the other day.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
But they were fine.
It was fine.
And nobody fell.
The window's still not shut, and the lights got left on, and all my tools got left out.
Right,
but we're working on it.
There was no blood or broken
I
bones.
love how you're worried about the kids, and I'm like, my stuff, my tools. So you don't hide.
I don't hide. I validate their feelings.
Because they don't get to be kids the way that they get to see a lot of other kids be kids.
Yes, and that's valid.
Yeah, it is.
And so I validate their feelings, and I also share with them. I hate that it's like this. I don't like it either.
I don't like it also.
Yeah.
I wish you could just go be kids.
I also wish that I could just snap my fingers and change it.
Yeah.
But this is where we are, and this is our life. And it is still good. And there are still all of these blessings. Perspective, right? Changing that perspective. Yeah. So validate their feelings, but then also changing the perspective, and also just thanking them for what they are doing and how they are showing up.
Yeah. I need to do better with that.
I think even when I think thanking them, not just when they're showing up their best, but thanking them when they're struggling.
Yeah.
So thanking, when they're watching everyone and they, maybe they act disrespectful to their siblings or something. That may need to be addressed, but also you're handling a lot. Thank you.
Right. Like I think about how many times I lose my temper and then I get on Russell for losing his temper and I'm like, you just did it.
We're grown adults and.
Well, I mean, okay, so there is this idea of just like, I asked 17 times for this to get done and then I lost my temper. You just went right into that. So we do, but I think we have talked about before how much I think, just the fact that they are getting tools that are going to help them to be good adults. And so as hard as it is, I trust that God's got them. Mm-hmm. And I think that we have some really incredible kids to handle what they handle.
Well, and then I wanted to add giving them power to make choices where we can.
Yes.
So what that looks like is I have to work from this time to this time.
Yeah.
So the kids need to be supervised. Who wants to take this shift? Who wants to take the second shift? Who wants to do dinner today? Who wants to do dinner tomorrow? Even if it's the tiniest choices, anything that I can, it feels better. It feels better to me when I get to do that.
Well, yeah.
So I think that is helpful as well.
I'll have to implement that. But it's rough. Like I don't envy them, but at the same time, I'm like, these kids they're going to grow up to be amazing people.
Yeah, they really are.
I think they're going to grow up to be really incredible people. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited to see the kind of people they become because I knock on wood. This counts, right? But yeah. I just feel like with 10 kids and the issues that we do have to deal with compared to the struggles we've all been through, mm-hmm. our ratio's looking real good.
Yeah.
We're looking real good. I think that's a testament to them. Mm-hmm. I think that's a testament to us. We got to give ourselves that credit. And just a testament to the choices that we make in how we parent, how we choose to be, the people we choose to, the company we choose to make.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Madison, my oldest, came to me last night after work. And I didn't even finish until almost 8:30 at night.
Ugh.
And I come out and things were not done. And they should have been done.
Hours ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I was frustrated. And I voiced that out loud. I wasn't disrespectful. I didn't yell, but I just said, I'm frustrated. I told y'all exactly what to do. We talked about this before I started mm-hmm. work, and y'all chose not to do it. And I'm really frustrated right now. And later, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes later, Madison came into my room and she goes, Mom, I just want to say I'm sorry for not getting stuff done. I chose to watch TV instead of do the list. And I know you were working and I didn't make the right decision and I'm sorry.
That's something to celebrate right there.
Absolutely.
Taking accountability, because I was having a conversation with some of our kids just yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I am not expecting perfection.
Yeah.
I want your best and taking accountability because there's so much fear of making mistakes.
Right.
And so the conversation I had with them was, you're going to make mistakes. I am not expecting you to not make mistakes. But what you do about those mistakes is your character. That is the person you're going to be. So when you take accountability, celebration, 100%.
Yeah, I was 100%. So proud of her. And I was like, no problem. We will take care of it tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of controlling our own house too. So let's end with more gratitude because I think that I really do think that is a huge blessing because you can find bad and good everywhere mm-hmm. you are. And if you're looking for the good, that's what you see and that's what you have.
Yeah.
So like, are you kidding me? I'm pointing at mountains for those of you who are just listening. This is my backyard.
Yeah.
This is my back freaking yard. So 10 years ago,
mm-hmm.
you were here for convention.
For the very first time.
I barely knew you.
I've never seen mountains in my whole life.
You were standing here, like here-ish.
Yep.
And you were just like, this is your view all the time? And I was like, what do you mean? And I'm just kind of like confused. And you're like, this is incredible. And I've held on to that for the whole time, ever since that moment, to the point where I've talked to my kids. I'm like, do you know there's kids out there who have never seen mountains ever?
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see this it's out your bedroom window.
Yeah.
And so I don't take it for granted. I drive. I'm walking my driveway between sets and I'm going, are you kidding me? Like I stop and I'm just like, thank you. So I am grateful. One, I'm going to do two. I'm cheating. I am grateful for you giving me that perspective. Mm-hmm. Two, I'm grateful for these mountains and for this view that we get to have, because this is soul cleansing, and I've said, or soul healing, and I've said before that I've decided that God created these mountains for me. He made that mountain right there for me, and that one over there, and there's some behind it that we go and venture. Those are mine.
Hold on, which one is mine then?
We both get to have them. That's the beauty of it. Okay. Because just because I say God made it for me doesn't mean that he's not like, hey, Julia, this is for you too. Okay, so those are my two. Your perspective that you've given me, and that freaking view that's outside my window. Any of my windows. All of my windows. Yeah. I'm just going to sit here for a minute. Stare at them. Majestically covered in snow. In April. We're going to sit in positivity with that, because if not, I'll get angry.
Usually, we do the water slide and barbecue on Easter weekend.
Do you? We're not going to do that on Sunday. But I do think we'll be outside. We will be. I think it's going to be warm. It's going to be 65. I know.
So exciting.
Okay, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful that I am in a place where I'm present every day. I am present for the good. I am present for the bad. And sometimes it's overwhelming to feel all of those things.
To not disassociate. It is very overwhelming.
Because I've disassociated and I've numbed for so long because I had to.
Yep.
And now I'm present. I'm not missing out on anything. I'm here for all of it. And sometimes that's hard. But that means that I'm getting to fully experience life.
I love that, because I think that really wraps up this whole idea of you are present for the good and the bad, and that is good.
Yes.
That you are happy to be here for the bad.
Yes.
Especially because the bad doesn't touch the bad we were living before.
Right.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay, till next week.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Unfiltered Summit Sisters.
Come join us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to get a sneak peek into our lives.
It's beautiful, chaotic, crazy, and fun.
What else would you expect raising 10 kids?
All the links you need are in the show notes.
See you next week.